بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Alhamdulillah, we are now moving on to lesson 6 of دروس اللغة العربية. And this lesson, there are a few key points to remember. Number one is هذا is used for singular masculine. So if you want to point out something which is singular masculine, we would use the word هذا. For instance, a pen, القلم, which is singular masculine, we would say هذا قلم. This is a pen. Or هذا القلم جديد. This pen is new. And if we want to point at something which is feminine, then we would use the word, for singular feminine, we would use the word هذه. So for instance, we want to point at a tree, which is شجرة, we would say هذه شجرة. This is a tree. And notice we are pointing at something which is close. Or هذه الشجرة طويلة. This tree is tall. Now, because we will be covering about masculine and feminine words, it's important that we understand a bit about uh, which words in the Arabic language are considered to be masculine, i.e. مذكر, and which words are considered to be muannath, feminine. Now, in order to do so, I have prepared some text here, inshallah, in front of us. Very simple, it's not hard, inshallah. Like we did in lesson 5, where I explained the mudaf mudaf ilayh to the best of my ability, the different forms of mudaf mudaf ilayh. So it gave us a broader understanding of mudaf mudaf ilayh, more than just understanding it to be a possessive phrase, which is typically understood that way. So here we have this lesson about pointing at words which are masculine and feminine. Because we are going to be pointing at words which are masculine and feminine, it's probably a good idea to know how to determine which words are masculine and feminine. So let's get started, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We will read through this text and it's pretty straightforward and we'll be able to understand what's going on, inshallah. Okay. So, al-ismu imma mudhakkarun wa imma muannathun. The noun in the Arabic language is either masculine or it's feminine. وإما مؤنث. فالمذكر ما يصح أن تشير إليه بقولك هذا كرجل وحصان وقمر وكتاب. As for the masculine, it is that which it's improper, it is proper and it is acceptable that you can point at it through your statement هذا, or through your usage of هذا, by you saying هذا. For example, رجل, which means a man, حصان means horse, and قمر means moon, and kitab means book. So here, this is the text from جامع الدروس العربية, and he's saying that a masculine word is that which it's proper, it is correct to point at it by using the اسم الإشارة هذا. So if we want to point at the man, we will say هذا رجل. We want to point at the horse, which is close. Remember, for close proximity, we use هذا, otherwise we'll be using ذلك. So هذا حصان, and this is a moon. هذا قمر, and هذا كتاب. This is a book. So I might ask the question, the moon is far. You can metaphorically use moon in the Arabic language as well to describe a person in terms of beauty, etc. Now, that is how they describe muzakkar. They link you with the ismul ishara hada. If you see in the Arabic language that when you see you are pointing at words and hada is used to point at that word, that is a sign that that word which is pointed at, musharun ilay, is masculine. وهو قسمان. This muzakkar word is now of two types: حقيقي, actual, وهو ما يدل على ذكر من الناس أو الحيوان كرجل وصبي وأسد وجمل. Now this masculine word is of two types. Number one, حقيقي, actual, is actually masculine. And what is the definition of an actual masculine word? It is that which indicates to a masculine amongst the people or animals. So, for example, rajulun which means a man. So this is in relation to people or humans. Sabiyin is also which means a child, which means it's referred to masculine. So that is also from the category of annas, people. Then we have Asad and Jamal. Asad means lion and Jamal means camel. So these also are masculine words because they refer to masculine gender in terms of um, their in terms of the gender they refer to masculine. So a masculine lion and a masculine camel or male. Okay, so here that is in relation to hayawan. So these words which were masculine, rajul, sabi, asad, jamal, they are actually masculine, muzakkar, by nature. ومجازي and metaphorical. Now this is the second type of مذكر وهو ما يعامل معاملة الذكر من الناس أو الحيوان وليس منها كبدر وليل وباب. The second category is figurative or you could say metaphorical, and that is the the one which is treated like a masculine word from humans and animals, whilst it is not actually from the humans and animals. For example, Badrun, Laylun, and Babun. Now, Badrun, obviously, we know it refers to the moon, and Layl, Badr, obviously, is more in relation to when it's a full moon. Layl, which means night, and Babun, which means door. Now, by nature, these words don't have a real clear gender. So they're not haqiqi, but however, they are treated mu'amalat al-zakari. They are treated as masculine of the humans and animals, even though they are not from them, or whilst they are not from them. The waw is haliyah here. So, for instance, Badr, Layl, and Bab. So these will be masculine, but majazan, metaphorically or figuratively. So they will be still treated as masculine words. So if you want to say هذا بدر or ليل طويل, night, long night, or باب مكسور or باب مفتوح, when you want to bring an adjective for these words, they will be brought as masculine because these words are masculine, مذكر. So that's the second type, majazi. Now moving on to wal muannath. What is muannath? ما يصح أن تشير إليه بقولك هذه كامرأة وناقة وشمس ودار. Now, feminine muannath is that which it's proper to indicating to it is correct or is proper or is deemed proper through your statement هذه. For example, the word imra'atun, which means female, woman. You could say naqatun, which means it's a camel, but it's a she camel. Shamsun, which is the sun, and Darun means house. Now, these words, when we point at these words, okay, we would point at these words by using هذه. It'd be incorrect to say هذا امرأة or هذا ناقة هذا شمس. Okay, these words, when we indicate these words, we use the word هذه. So this is a clear sign that when we use هذه, this is showing us that the word is feminine, مؤنث. So this is, you could say, um, a definition which kind of indicates to the word being feminine. The muannath, okay, is also categorized like we had muzakkar, which was haqiqi and majazi. Muannath is also categorized, but it's of four categories. Okay, so وهو أربعة أقسام لفظي ومعنوي وحقيقي ومجازي. Okay. So فالمؤنث اللفظي okay ما لحقته علامة التأنيث. مؤنث لفظي is that to which the sign of feminine is attached to. سواء أدل على مؤنث كفاطمة وخديجة أم على مذكر كطلحة وحمزة وزكريا. Okay. So مؤنث لفظي is that to which the sign of ta'nis is attached to. Okay. And it's the same whether it indicates towards a feminine word like Fatima and Khadija or indicates towards a masculine word like Talha, Hamza, and Zakaria. Okay. So we can see that the word Fatima and Khadija, these are words where we can see that it's got a ta and it's mu'annas lafzi, okay? Because we can see that it's got the sign of feminine, the round ta at the end. And also it refers to a female and it's the name of a female, okay? And sometimes we see that this ta comes on uh, masculine words as well, okay? So they come on masculine words even though they are masculine, they will still can be considered to be feminine in terms of lafzan because um, it has the feminine ta. Okay, feminine ta. So talhata, talhata, hamzata, zakariya because of the alif mamduda. Alif mamduda. Okay. So muannas lafzi, just to wrap it up, okay, the sign of the femininity is attached to it. And it's the same whether it indicates towards actual feminine, so Fatima, the ta is referring to a female, or is indicating to a masculine, so Adalla ala mudhakkarin, or is indicating to a masculine, for example, Talha. Okay, so you can say هذا طلحة, and you can say هذه طلحة. This is Talha, or you can use هذا in terms of Talha being muannath, sorry, mudhakkar in terms of in the meaning. Okay. Now, muannas ma'nawi, I don't have it here. Okay, so it's my lack of preparation, or it's probably cut off in the text. Okay, so I'll just actually say um, the definition. Okay, actually, let me just see if I can annotate it. So it'll be a bit good to actually probably annotate it. So I'll just put a text there, so it kind of at least we'll have something there on the screen. Okay, so apologies for that. I did miss that one out. So let's just do it in red. Okay. So I do apologize for this. In the meantime, you can probably grab yourself a cup of tea. Shouldn't be that long, inshallah. You probably have a cup of tea in front of you anyway. Okay. Mm, mm, oh, and let's just put an example. Maryam. Okay. So that didn't take long. You can have your last few sips of your tea now, inshallah. So let's just put it here, okay? But just remember, it's second in order. Let me just confirm it's right before one nothing. Okay, hopefully, inshallah, that should be right. So, Muannas Amadwi, okay, is it appearing on your screen? Can you see? Just to confirm. So, all the hard work of annotating has not gone down the drain. Can you, yeah, you can see that text. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So muannath lafzi, we've covered that there is a sign of femininity attached to it, sign of the word being feminine, like for example the ta and the alif mamduda here, Zakariya, etc. Okay. Now muannath manwi huwa ma dalla ala muannathin. Okay, there you go. There's a mistake there. Should be ala there. Okay. هو ما دل على مؤنث دون أن تلحقه علامة التأنيث, without the علامة التأنيث being attached to it. For example, Maryam. So مؤنث معنوي means that there's no sign of the word being feminine attached to it. So by looking at the word, you know that in the meaning it refers to a feminine. For example, Fatimata, the ta is giving us the impression that this word is what, feminine. But in Maryam, there is no ta. So we can't say lafzan, we can't say literally the word is feminine in terms of there's something there that's indicating in literally that shows and demonstrates that this word is feminine. It's by ma'na and meaning. Okay, so Maryam. So that's mu'annas ma'nwi. So lafzi and ma'nwi is like you could say refers to feminine names, and but in lafzi the sign is clear, and in ma'nwi there is no sign. Moving on, wal mu'annathul haqiqiyyu. Okay, this is a bit like at the top as well. So ما دل على أنثى من الناس أو الحيوان كامرأة وغلامة وناقة وأتان. مؤنث حقيقي is that which indicates to a female of amongst the humans or people or animals. For example, imra'atun, which means woman, غلامة, which means a slave but female, ناقة, which means a she camel, and atan means a donkey but um, female. So I don't know, you probably want to call it a she donkey, I'm not sure. Okay, so if you look at these words, muannas haqiqi, in reality, these classify the gender of the entities. Okay, so imra'atun, you know that is referred to woman, ghulamatun, female slave. Okay, so ghulam means slave. Okay, ghulamatun, female slave. Remember, the word ghulam can be used for a boy as well, just generally talking about a boy. So whether you want to say female slave or just girl. Okay, naqatun. This imra'atun and ghulamatun, this is in relation to an-nas. An-naqatun and atan, this is in relation to hayawan. Okay, so these are actual feminine words. So if you want to point at these words, we will use the word هذه. هذه امرأة, هذه غلامة, هذه ناقة, هذه أتان. Now, مؤنث مجازي ما يعامل معاملة الأنثى, that which is treated like treating of the feminine of the people and animals or animals. وليس منها, whilst it is not from actually any one of those. For example, Shams, Dar, Ain, and Rajul. Now, Shams means sun, Dar means house, Ain means eye, and Rajul means sorry, Ridge. It's not Rajul, what am I saying? Ridge is foot. Okay. So we will come to that anyway, inshallah. Body parts that are dual are considered to be feminine, but there are some exemptions. Okay. So just to confirm that, Shams, sun, Dar, house, Ain, eye, and Rijl, which means foot. Okay. So these are considered to be feminine, but not by nature, not by actuality and reality, because Shams really don't have a gender. Um, one way to know that it's actually um, masculine or feminine, it will have an opposing gender to it. So when you say woman, you got man. When you say slave woman, you got slave man. And she camel, you got the he camel, etc. Okay? So Shamsun, it don't have anything masculine opposing it. Darun, house, etc. You can't say Shams, the opposite is the moon. Okay, and that is the opposite. What do you want to say? I don't know, bungalow. What are you going to say? Apartment? No, you can't. Okay. The eye, you can't say it's the ear, and the foot, you can't say it's the, I don't know, hands. No, it don't work like that. Okay. So here, these words will be feminine, majazi, metaphorically or figuratively. Okay. So if you want to point at the sun, for example, you want to say that is the sun. tilka shamsun, or that is a house, tilka darun, like in the Quran, tilka darul akhiratu, ain, which means eye. So you want to say this is an eye, okay? You won't say hada, you'll say hadihi ainun, and this is a foot. You'll say hadihi rijlun, not hadihi. Sorry, not hada rijlun. Okay, remember this word rij, not rajul. Okay, so these are words which are feminine metaphorically. Okay, now the next part we want to cover is وَمِنَ الْأَسْمَاءِ مَا يُذَكَّرُ وَيُؤَنَّثُ. From the nouns, there are those which are deemed masculine, مَا يُذَكَّرُ وَيُؤَنَّثُ, and which are deemed feminine. So you basically can, um, you could say, use both. Okay. So the word dalwun, which means bucket, okay? So you can consider this to be masculine and feminine. So if you want to point at this word, you could say hada dalwun and you could say hadihi dalwun, okay? So both tazkir and ta'nith can be applied to ad-dal. You can treat it as masculine and you can treat it as feminine. Sikkin, which means knife, okay? So you could say hada sikkinun and hadihi sikkinun. And words like that refer to path, example, sabil, which means path, tariq as well. We see this in the Quran, قُلْ هَذِهِ sabili. This is my path. So sabil, the word sabil, which means path, and tariq, which also means path as well, these can be treated as masculine and feminine. So if you would say this is a path, you could say هذا sabilun, and you could say هذه sabilun. Or هذا طريق, هذه طريق. سوق, okay, اللسان, الذراع, okay, and السلاح, الصاع, العنق, okay, الخمر, and etc. Okay, so these words as well, these words can also be treated as masculine or feminine. Okay, okay. So lisan, obviously, which means tongue. Okay, so you could say هذا لسان or هذه لسان. ذراع, obviously, it refers to the forearm. Okay. Then you have a sa'. A sa' is a cubic measure varying magnitude. So it depends on what you measure. The actual measure of the sa' will vary. So if you're measuring dates, raisins, etc., the quantity of what you are measuring will vary depending on what is put inside the sa'. Sa' is like a vessel. Okay. It was used in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So sa', this can be used as masculine and feminine. So you could say hada sa'un or hadihi sa'un. You got unuk, okay, which means the neck. So you can treat that as masculine or feminine as well. And then finally we have the word khamr, okay, which refers to, if I'm not wrong, intoxicants or intoxicating items, okay. So these words can be used as masculine or feminine. So you could say هذا خمر or هذه خمر. Okay. Now, سوق, obviously, which refers to the market. Okay. So these words you can refer to them as masculine and feminine. The common one you'll see, okay, dull one, sometimes you'll see it's used actually feminine a lot. Sometimes you might see that it's used what? Masculine. So whichever way you look at it, you know that these words can be used as masculine or feminine. Okay, ومنها ما يكون للمذكر والمؤنث وفيه علامة التأنيث. Now, amongst these nouns are those which can be used as masculine and feminine, whilst it contains a sign of being feminine. So there are also words that, if you look at the previous ones, they don't have actually any sign of femininity or being feminine. So there's no round ta. You don't see sabilatun, sikinatun, dalwatun, tariqatun. No. Okay. So you can use any of the gender. You can treat it masculine or feminine. But here we have that despite it having alamat ta'nith, you can still refer to these words as masculine or feminine. Okay. So we have the word as-sakhla, sakhlatun, which means a lamb. Okay. So lamb. You can treat this as masculine or feminine, despite it having the round da. So lamb, like sheep, lamb. Okay. Al-hayyatu, which means snake. Okay, so you can also treat this as masculine and feminine. So you can say هذا حية, هذه حية, or هذه صخلة, هذا صخلة. A shat, which obviously means sheep. So you could say هذا شاة and هذه شاة. You could use both. Okay. Um, then we have a rab'ah. Okay, rab'ah means medium height. So it's referred to al-mutawassitul qamah. So this word, rab'atun, okay, can be is referred to describing someone as middle height. Okay, so you could say al-rajulu rab'atun, and you could say al-mar'atu, al-imra'atu rab'atun as well. Obviously, for masculine, for feminine, it'll make sense the ta is there, but for masculine, you can still keep the ta there because this can be used as masculine or feminine as well. Okay. Are there any questions in regards to this slide here before we move on? Inshallah, because there is some more information, inshallah, which I want to share with you in regards to words which we use as masculine and feminine. Okay. Any questions in regards to this slide here? No? Okay. So, inshallah, let's move on. I'll just remove the annotation, inshallah. So, there we go. Fresh page. Now, moving on. كل أسماء الأجناس يجوز فيها التذكير حملا على الجنس والتأنيث حملا على الجماعة، نحو أعجاز نخل خاوية وأعجاز نخل منقعر. Okay. Now, moving on from words which we said that we've described, we've mentioned actually how do we determine a word to be masculine and feminine? And then we went into the subcategories. Okay. Here, what we're covering here is sometimes we see nouns, and by looking at that noun, okay, what the nature of that noun, what type of noun it is, we can actually have two possibilities. One is treating it as masculine, and one is treating it as feminine. And then it gives the reason why you would treat it as masculine and why you would treat it as feminine. So let's get going. كل أسماء الأجناس. All the nouns that are, ismul jins, generic nouns. So nouns that just refer to an entity in general terms. Okay, you can consider those words, okay, to be masculine. Why would you be able to consider that word to be masculine? You will take it to be that you are referring to al-jins, the type. So, for example, we have here أعجاز النخل خاوية. Okay, that this is obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the people of Ad. وَأَمَّا عَادٌ فَأُهْلِكُوا بِرِيحٍ صَرْصَرٍ عَاتِيَةٍ. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a screaming, violent wind. Okay, بريح صرصر عاتية سخرها عليهم 7 ليال وثمانية أيام, which he imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days. Okay, سخرها عليهم 7 ليال وثمانية أيام من. Okay, so he imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession. Okay, so obviously further on the Quran says, فَهَلْ تَرَى لَهُم مِّن بَاقِيَةٍ. Sorry, you will see them. Okay, you will see them كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية. Okay, as if they were trunks of date palms hollow. Okay, so as if they were uh, date palms. Okay, hollow. Sorry, trunks. Ajaz means trunks of. Nakhlin means date palms, and Khawiya means hollow. So they were destroyed very severely Okay, severe punishment came on the people of Ad, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that the way they appeared to look was as if they were fallen trunks. Okay, so the verse obviously previously was سخرها عليهم سبع ليال وثمانية أيام حسوما. Okay, so he imposed upon them uh, the violent wind storm for 7 nights and 8 days حسوما consecutively. Okay, فترى القوم فيها صرعى. So you could see them thrown on the ground. فترى القوم فيها صرعى كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية, as if they were trunks of hollow palm trees. Okay, so that's how severely they were destroyed. So here, looking back, okay, so the main focus here we want to focus on is the word nakhl, okay, date palms. So this is actually ismul jins, okay. It's a noun which is used in its general generic form. So you're not really referring to a specific date palm, okay, or a date palm. You're referring to date palms as a whole, okay, in general terms. Because one sign of Ismul Jins is you will see that by adding a ta, it becomes singular. So that's known as ta'ul wahda, the ta of singularity. So nakhlatun will mean a date palm, but with the removal of the ta'ul wahda, it'll become Ismul Jins. So here nakhl, okay, the word nakhl, okay, is Ismul Jins. It's a generic noun. You can treat it to be masculine or feminine. Here, this is the example of feminine because we can see nakhl, the sifat, the nat has been brought as feminine. Khawiyatin, hollow. So hollow date palms. So here nakhl, which is ismul jins, this is the example where it's used for ta'neeth, feminine. Okay? And why would you translate it? Why can you consider it to be feminine? You'll assume it to be that it's referring to a group, jama'ah, group, okay, of date palms. Okay. So if you do interpret nakhl as jama'ah, then you can treat it to be feminine. And then if you bring a describing word or etc., you want to point at it, you can use words which are feminine that describe it or point at. So let's just say I want to say these are date palms. I could treat it as masculine, and I could say هذا نخل, and I could say هذه نخل as well. هذه on the basis that it's referring to jama'a, and هذا, why can we still bring it masculine? Because we're referring to al-jins, not jama'a, jins type category. Okay. Another verse, obviously in Surah Al-Qamar, Allah subhanahu. So this verse, أعجاز نخل خاوية, this is from Surah Al-Haqqa. Okay. But in Surah Al-Qamar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the punishment again, and this time He says, أعجاز النخل منقعر. That it was as if though they were um, trunks, أعجاز, trunks of date palms, munqa'ir, uprooted. So munqa'ir means uprooted. So we can see that the na'at here of nakhlin is not mentioned, it's not been brought as munqa'iratin. Okay, it's munqa'ir. There's no ta to make it feminine, as was the case in khawiyatin. Okay, so nakhli munqa'ir. We've seen that the nat has been brought as masculine because ismul jins, you can treat it to be masculine or feminine, and this is the example where we treating the ismul jins to be masculine. Okay, because we're referring to al jins. As we're treating it hamlan al jins, we are taking it to be jins. Okay, so referring to jins, not jama'a. So that's why munqa'id has been brought as masculine. Okay, so just to summarize that in a nutshell, it's words which are ismul jins, generic in the meaning, okay, nouns which are generic in the meaning. These words can be considered to be masculine or feminine. If it's masculine, then we're referring to jins, and we interpret it as jins. And if it's feminine, then we interpret it as jama'a, like in nakhlin, khawiyatin for jama'a, and nakhlin munqa'id for jins. Next, moving on. كل اسم جمع لآدمي فإنه يذكر ويؤنث كالقوم كما في قوله تعالى. Now, an ism jins which is used for people, because this one ism jins was used for um, date palms which are not humans. Okay, so sometimes you have a ismul jins which is used for humans. فإنه يذكر ويؤنث. It is brought, as you could say, masculine and feminine, like the word al-qawm. Okay, so for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَذَّبَ بِهِ قَوْمُكَ. Your people rejected it. Okay, and another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَذَّبَتْ قَوْمُ نُوحٍ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. So the people of Nuh, okay, belied the messengers, okay, those who were sent. So here we got كَذَّبَ بِهِ قَوْمُكَ. So it makes sense. كَذَّبَ is past tense verb. Masculine has been brought because قَوْم, there's no sign of it being feminine. So it makes sense bringing the verb as also masculine, aligned in line with قوم. However, we see كذبت قوم نوح. كذبت, we see the تاء التانيث here now added. Okay. Now, why is the word كذبت brought as feminine when قوم is there's no sign of it being feminine? Okay, because it's ismul jam. Okay, it's a generic noun which is used for people that can be treated as masculine or feminine. Hence, we can say كذبت قوم نوح المرسلين. And same principle, okay? قوم, why would it be treated as masculine? That'll be you taking into consideration there's no sign of feminine found to be found. Okay? So you're referring to the people as a whole. Okay? Um, why can it be treated as feminine? Because jama'a. Okay? So قوم, if you interpret it as jama'a, then you could say كذبت as well. It makes sense. Bottom line is the Arabs they use these words as masculine and feminine, so hence reasons are given for this allowance and permissibility. Now moving on, تأنيث الأعضاء وتذكيرها. This is a common one which people um, do cover. Okay, so you probably come across this rule before. So bringing feminine of the parts. عضو جمع is أعضاء, which means the body parts. So body parts being feminine and bringing body parts as feminine and masculine. Now, which body parts are considered to be masculine and feminine? So there's a general rule: كل عضو بإزائه عضو من أعضاء الإنسان فهو مؤنث. Okay, every part. Okay, um, in the opposite of it has a part from the parts of the human beings. In other words, what this is trying to say is every dual parts of the human beings. So every part opposing it, there is a part from the parts of the humans that is considered to be feminine. So any part a person, the human being has in pairs, that will be considered to be uh, feminine. So we got yadun. Okay, so we got an opposing part to it on the left side. So right hand, left hand. Okay, so you got your right foot, left foot. So you got 2 feet. Okay, you got eyes, one on the right, one on the left. You got ears, one on the right, one on the left. Okay, so dual body parts. These will be considered to be feminine. Now, الخد والجنب والحاجب والعضد. Okay, now the cheek, the sides, the eyebrow, and the upper arm. According to Banu Tamim, يذكرونه, they deem these to be uh, masculine. Okay, so there's an exception here. According to them, these words they would say that these are masculine. Okay, وأهل تهامة يؤنثونه, and the people of Tihama they consider them to be still feminine. Okay, based on obviously they are dual, there's two parts, okay? وكل عضو فرد من الأعضاء فهو مذكر. And every individual part of the parts of the humans, they are masculine. So parts that are generally, well, human body parts that are single, okay, they don't come in pairs, they will be considered to be masculine, okay? إلا الكبد, except for a few. So for example, kabid, which means liver, uh, kirsh, okay, which means stomach, and then we have at-tihal, if I'm not wrong, is spleen. It's an organ in the stomach. With the exception of these three, okay, the rest will be considered to be masculine. Okay, وكل عضو في الإنسان, and every part in the human, okay, أول اسمه كاف, that the beginning of it has a kaf, فهو مؤنث, it is feminine. Okay, so for example, katif, which means shoulder, and kab, obviously, which means heel. These um, will be considered to be um, feminine. Okay, so that's another way to kind of look at these words in terms of their gender. Okay, then we have تأنيث الأسنان أو تذكيرها. Okay, that should be in black, to be honest. So the teeth being feminine and the teeth being masculine. So كلها مؤنثة. All the teeth are feminine. All the teeth are feminine. Okay. Now, إلا الأضراس والأنياب, except for two types of teeth. Okay. Adras is the plural of dirsun, and dirsun is the molar. Okay, the molars. Okay, these are obviously um, teeth that have a broad surface and they're used for biting and grinding. Okay, and then we have three on each side of the upper and lower jaws. Okay, three on each side. Okay, there's a total of what 12 in total. So you have three on the top right, three at the bottom right, three on the top left, and three at the bottom left. So on the ras, these are known as the molars. So these teeth, okay, will not be considered to be feminine. So this is where the exception is, and well, anyab are the canines. Okay, so anyab is the plural of nabun, which means canine, and these words will be considered to be um, these words will be considered to be um, masculine. Okay, so just remember these rules in regards to words being masculine and feminine. Really, the reality is so much more could have been said. Okay, because the books go into so much detail. But I just thought before we go into this lesson, inshallah, as just to cover some rules. So when we come across these words in the Quran or any other places, we know that these words are either masculine because of so and so reason, or they're feminine for so and so reason. Or if we see a word in one place is treated as masculine, in another place it's treated as feminine, we know why. Probably it's ismul jins or ismul jam for a person, for human beings, or it's certain body parts that do have an exemption to the rule, or etc. Okay. Any question in regards to this before we inshallah we move on to the lesson? No? Okay, so inshallah. We're going to move on to the lesson now, inshallah. So we have a dars as-sadis. So lesson 6. Now this lesson is about this word here. Okay? Ha-dhihi. Okay? Now let's just annotate this. The word ha-dhihi, okay, it's a noun for pointing. Ismul isharati lil qarib. Okay? هذه is a noun which is used for pointing at something which is Let's be more specific. للمؤنث. هذه is اسم الإشارة للمؤنث القريب, to point at something which is feminine but close. Okay. Can you remember which word was the one that was used to point at something masculine but close? Any idea? Which word was used to point at something which was masculine but close? هذا. Very good. Okay. So هذه. Okay. This lesson is all about this word. Okay. So we have the first sentence. We have هذا. Okay. Remember, we're going to join this from the previous lesson. We know that this is a eliding Hamza. So we will join this Hamza. Okay. So we will say ha. Let's get the laser on. هذا ابن حامد وهذه. Here there's no Hamzatul Wasl, so we won't join that on. We won't say وهذه ابن. We'll say وهذه بنت ياسر. Okay. What do you think the translation of this is? هذا ابن حامد وهذه بنت ياسر. Okay. Once you think of the translation, inshallah, I will set up the tarkib, inshallah, for this. Okay, so let's just do it in green, inshallah. هذا, we have it. This is Hamid's son, and this is Yasir's daughter. Okay, so notice here we have used the word hada when pointing at the son. So this is Hamid's son, and when we're pointing at the daughter, we're using hadihi, and both are within close proximity. Okay, so hada, what would hada be in tarkib here? Any idea? The word hada, mubtada'un. So hada is mubtada'un. What's ibnu? Ibnu, okay, is mudaf. So ibnu equals mudaf, and that leaves us with Hamid, which equals mudaf ilay. What does that mudaf ilay become? I.e. Ibn Hamid. Ibn Hamid. Any idea what that becomes? Khabar. Very good. Okay. MashaAllah, you're alert, very alert today. As always, I do apologize. Let's see if we can fit that mudaf ilay on one line. Yes. Okay. So that's the tarkib of that. هذا is مبتدأ. Ibnu is mudaf. Hamid is mudaf ilayh, and Ibnu Hamid will together will become khabar. And then the mubtada khabar, you can say it becomes a jumla, it's a sentence. Ismiyatun, nominative, or whichever one say, just keep to ismiya, and khabriya. Then the waw would be harful atf or atifatun. هذه would be mubtada'un like هذا, and bintu yasirin mudaf ilayh will become the khabar. And then هذه بنت ياسر, this will become a sentence together, will become a sentence, and that will be معطوف upon هذا ابن حامد. Okay? And then obviously like we did before, if you want to group both sentences together and make it as a single sentence and do confirm the tarkib, you can say هذا ابن حامد وهذه بنت ياسر will become a jumla starting with a noun, so اسمية, and it's informative is declarative, so we would say it's khabariyatun. Okay, so jumlatun ismiyatun, khabariyatun, and ma'tufiyatun because it consists of ma'tuf alayh. Very good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ibnu hamidan dun or din. Some vowels are missing intentionally. Okay, so let's just try to point these out. Din. Okay, why is it din? Why is it din? Sounds good. Was part of our deen. Deen. Hamidin. Mudaf ilayh, mashallah. Okay. Ibn Hamidin mudaf ilayh. Okay, just excuse me with the two there, the kasratain. Okay. By writing as terrible as it is with a pen, so you can imagine how terrible it is with a mouse. Okay. So Ibn Hamidin, Hamid's son, Jalisun is what? What's he doing? What's Hamid's son doing? Jalisun. So write the translation for the whole thing, inshallah, is sitting. And you want to continue with the translation? Okay. Wabin whilst you're at it, is it bin tu ta or ti? Okay. There you go. That's a perfect tanween. Kasratain. And Yasir's daughter is standing. Very good. Is it bin tu ta or ti? Bin tu. Okay, why is it bin tu? That dhamma is going around the roundabout. Bin tu. Okay. Yasir mubtada. Very good. And Yasir run, rin or run? Rin. Why is it rin? Because he don't like to run. Muzaf ilay, mashallah. Bintu Yasirin. واقفة. Why is it واقفة? Why is it ضمتين? Why is it ضمتين? واقفة. خبر, mashallah, very good. Okay. Now, in terms of tarkib, any questions in relation to the tarkib? I'll just go over it, inshallah. There's no need. Slowly, we'll move away from the annotation of the tarkib where it's quite easy. So, Ibn Hamid, mudaf ilayh will become Ibn Hamid, mudaf ilayh becomes Mubtada'un, and Jalisun will become the khabar. And then Ibn Hamidin Jalisun, which is a sentence, that will become Ma'tuf alayh. That is the sentence that you're going to add on to. Waw is atifatun, or you could say harful atf. Atifatun, feminine, you can say atifatun because kalimatun atifatun. Okay. Bintu is mudaf, Yasirin is mudaf ilayh. So Bintu Yasirin mudaf ilayh will become mubtadaun. So we're treating this as another sentence. And waqifatun is the khabar. And then Bintu Yasirin, which is mubtada, and the khabar, which is waqifatun, that will group together to become ma'tuf upon Ibn Hamidin Jalisun. And then you want to conclude the whole sentence in terms of tarkib. We would say it's jumlatun, ismiyatun because it starts with a noun, ibn, and it's khabariyatun because it's declarative or informative, and it's ma'tufiyatun because it consists of atf. Is that clear with that one? Okay. One question to note here, well, one question for me to ask you is where in this sentence do we see that the feminine word has been expressed as feminine? Which word from these words express that the word is feminine? So there's one word here that shows that something waqifatun. I think you wrote waqfatun, but it's supposed to be waqifatun. Okay, I'll see that, you probably need another cup of tea. It's okay. Inshallah, you can have another cup of tea, and then inshallah, the alif will come back. Waqifatun. Okay, so waqifatun. This is demonstrating that which word is feminine. So waqifatun, this is the word that's demonstrating which word is feminine. Bint, very good. Okay, let's move on, inshallah. Okay, man hadihi. What's the translation of man hadihi? Who is this? Feminine, very good. Okay, I'll just quickly do the tarkib of this one because it's been a bit of time since we probably haven't done this kind of sentence. What's the ismul istifham? Sorry, man is equals ismul istifham. So let's just put that in brackets. Man, which is ismul istifham. What does the ismul istifham become in tarkib? Man هذه مبتدأ. Very good. Okay, and that will leave what to be the khabar? هذه. هذه will become the khabar, and then man هذه, this will become a sentence, but what kind of sentence would it become? جملة اسمية أو فعلية؟ اسمية. Is it خبرية or is it إنشائية؟ إنشائية because it's not non-declarative, or you could say non-informative. You're just you're not passing on information. You're actually inquiring. Okay, so there's the interrogative noun there, man. So these sentences will be considered to be إنشائية. So it's جملة اسمية إنشائية. Next we have هذه أخت المهندسة ديسو أو ديسي. مهندسي. Very good. Okay. What's the translation of هذه أخت المهندسي? هذه أخت المهندسي. This is the engineer's sister. Very good. Okay. Tarkib wise, okay, let's just get the tarkib down of that one. So هذه, what's هذه التركيب؟ مبتدأ أخت أخت equals مضاف, and that leaves us with المهندس which equals مضاف إليه. Okay, مضاف إليه. And then the مضاف إليه أخت المهندس, that will group together to become the خبر. So أخت المهندس. Okay. Okay. So هذه أخت المهندس. This is the engineer's daughter. Okay. What kind of sentence does it become? جملة اسمية أو فعلية؟ اسمية خبرية أو إنشائية؟ خبرية. Very good. Okay. Inshallah, we'll keep it to here, and then inshallah next lesson we will cover أهي أيضا مهندسة لا هي طبيبة. We'll carry on with the تركيب and translation, working out of the text, and I hope you found this lesson useful and have a better understanding of how we treat words in terms of the gender in the Arabic language. If there are any further questions, you can inshallah ask in the tutor support group, in the Telegram support group, inshallah, anytime. And then inshallah, uh, if I know the answer, inshallah, I will pass the answer to you. And if I don't, inshallah, I'll ask someone who knows the answer. For now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, one question before you log off. You said, how can lam yaf'al be mudari when the meaning is mazi? Okay, lam yaf'al suratan, shaklan wa suratan is what mudari. So that means in its shape and form it's mudari, but ma'nan is what mazi. Okay? So lam yaf'al, even though you'd say he did not do, it means ma fa'ala. Okay. It will be شكلا فعل مضارع but معنى it'll be فعل ماضي. Is that clear? Yeah. And there's a difference as well because if you say ما قرأ, he did not read. ما قرأ زيد, Zayd did not read. That's normally when you're just passing information for the first time. But if somebody's in denial, so for example, you say, you know, somebody's declared, you're saying, قرأ زيد, and you're in denial, you're saying, no, Zayd didn't read. How can you say that? So you're responding to him. You won't say ما قرأ زيد. You're not just giving information. You're actually doing inkar. You're refuting. So in that situation, you'll say لم يقرأ زيد. Zayd did not read. Like we see in Surah Al-Ikhlas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لم يلد ولم يولد. He has not given birth to anyone, nor has anyone given birth to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say وما ولد وما ولد لم يلد ولم يولد. It's refuting the argument of those who claim that Allah has a family. So لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. And there's no one similar to him. Is that clear? Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Any other questions, inshallah, feel free to ask for now, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.